Greetings YouTube and welcome to my next weapons build. Now, I built a wolf's tooth club not long ago and I liked the idea, so I made a small one-handed morning star in the same design. This piece of square stock tubing I got for free at a yard sale. It was the only thing I wanted. It's like 5 feet long. I think it might have come from a lamp. The notch was already there. There's one on each end. And I was going to pay for it. The guy's like, "Is this all you want?" I said, "Yeah, you just take it." So I got a free piece of tubing. And I had to reduce the diameter of this wooden oak shaft a little bit, so that I then used that draw knife and my belt sander to take some material off and round it up. Then just shoved it in there, hammered it home, and then of course I drilled 5 holes through it and put these big nasty spikes on there. But what I didn't show after I made the wolf's tooth club is I made a Tetsubo version of the same design, where I used threaded rod again, but this time I put caps on either end, and you can see that on my DeviantArt, and if you want to bother searching for it on my Instagram. So these are left over. I've got more than this. There's one right there. I've got more of these left over because apparently I can't count, so I cut too many of them. But I have enough to do this project, and I still have enough caps, and I have enough of these. So what I'm going to do is make a blunt one-handed version of the Tetsubo. So I'm going to make a mace with a blunt head. And for the striking head, I'm going to use this piece of steel conduit tubing. This is 1-inch diameter steel electrical conduit, which you can only buy in like 10-foot sections. You can't buy it in shorter pieces, and they won't cut it for you. I've gotten black pipe cut specifically to what I wanted with no questions asked. They'll even thread the end of it for you, any length of thread you want, no questions asked. But I wanted a piece of conduit cut in half so I could fit it in my bloody car. Nope, only sell it in 10-foot pieces. Very annoying. And I had the opposite problem with this as I did this tubing. This tubing was a little bit too tight, so I had to reduce the diameter of the wooden shaft. This is larger than this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap some duct tape here and here just to fill up the space. That's a spacer, so the tubing will be centered over the shaft. Then I'm going to drill 5 more holes, and then I'm going to put the threaded rod and then the cap nuts on it, so that's all going to become one piece, just like that's one piece. And I'm going to wrap the handle just like that. However, you'll notice this right here, this is so I can store it, because this is very bloody dangerous. The only way I can safely store it is to hang it from the wall. I decided I'm going to try putting on a D-guard. I've never put a D-guard on anything. So my goal is, move that out of the way, is to put a D-guard right like that on this wooden shaft. So this has got a nice little lip on there. This is just a standard door handle. I picked it up at an estate sale or a flea market for like $1. So I'm going to grind out the metal right in the middle so that I can then use this piece of steel. Here is a solid steel bar, which is from a set of hand weights. And I'm going to use that to hammer this, because this and this are the same diameter, hammer this into shape. If I can just get a V, or kind of a V, I'd be happy. I just need to get it so it's kind of flush so I can get screws through the holes and holding this onto the wood. And then I will wrap the space on the inside like that after I have drilled a hole, so I know where to wrap it so I don't get the wrapping in my way. And then we'll have a one-handed mace that has a D-guard, and the D-guard was actually inspired by something I saw on my friend Mike's channel, Weapon Collector, in his 10-pound weapon series. One of his subscribers posted a video, and he made a D-guard by using a straight bar and then some standoffs to make that. I like the idea, but I thought this was a smidge more elegant looking, repurposing a standard, door handle or barn handle, whatever you want to call it, to become a D-guard. So the first thing I need to do then, I think, is going to be cut my tubing. I'm going to need a 6-inch piece of tubing so I can get the you know, get this big piece out of the way, because I don't need a big piece of tubing in my way. So make a measurement, reset my chop saw, which is currently set at 45-degree angle because for a project I did, the flail I made with the angled striking head. So I need to set that up, reset that, and then make a straight cut to 6 inches. And then I can get the large piece out of the way and just have the smaller pieces to play with. And then it's going to be working on this next, I think. Get this out of the way, then work on this, see if it works. Because if it doesn't work, I can always scrap it for right now and then just go on with the rest of the project. I'd like to see if this works. If it doesn't, like I said, no harm, no foul. Alrighty, so first up is going to be to cut this piece of tubing and give me a 6-inch length. All cut and ready for processing. And this is the first notch that I've made. It's all the way down to the base metal. Now I need to do that one over there, and then I need to see if I can bend it, which I think I should be able to do. It doesn't have to bend a lot, just enough to fit onto the shaft. And this stuff is fairly soft, so it cut pretty nice with the metal removing disc for my angle grinder. So that was pretty easy. So turn it around and do the other side, because it's just physically easier to come at it from this angle than that angle. And oh yeah, by the way, this is just a piece of scrap leather. I get more use out of this thing than I can tell you. I use it all the time to grip things that I don't want to hurt. Wood and metal all the time. I use it in the jaws, and I use it down here in the pipe section of my vise, and it does a great job of helping me grab oddly shaped objects. And I think I paid less. I paid, this is like a third of a sheet. I think I paid $1 for the whole sheet of scrap leather. So it's a really great deal. Get yourself some scrap leather. You will not regret it, because you will find many uses for it. Here we have the first side, and I ended up having to take all of this off. So before I even begin this side, I am going to grind all of that all the way up to the edge. Take that right off, take it right down to the flat. So that's not in my way in the least, and I'm hoping I can get a better look on this side than I did on this side. But you know, live and learn. You've got to do something at least once before you can figure out if there's a better way. So yes, so this side is going to have those line up well with the shaft. So now I need to grind that out and then do the same thing. And I actually ended up not using that rod at all and just putting it in here, hammering it over until I got kind of a curve, then putting it in here and then just closing the vise up and using the vise to squeeze it closed until I got the shape I wanted. And then to hog out the excess metal until I got the contact I was looking for, which is where I got those 2 little cones to touch the shaft. And that's what's important, to get those to touch the shaft. And once I get this where I want it, I will clamp the shaft and the handle together, and then I will drill little pilot holes for some screws, which unfortunately are upstairs in my home and not down here in the shop. Kind of a bummer, because the screws I want to use are black and are very useful for kind of like little inside house jobs. They're not really heavy duty screws, but this is not going to be something that's going to be under a huge amount of stress. So I'm okay with that. Also, they'll blend in nicely with this, and you'll see that when I get done. So next up, grind that off so that I can hopefully have an easier time bending this end than I did the other end. And there we go. That is what it's going to look like when I'm done. It's not perfect, and again, I'm okay with that. I am adapting something that was never intended to be used this way into a D-guard. And I am also going for the Wasteland aesthetic. So I'm going to go upstairs, get the screws I need, come back down, and I'm going to drill 4 little holes in here. I'm probably going to move my... Actually, I can drill these, and then flip this around, do the other side, turn this so I can do the other side more easily. But I can do this angle right here quite easily. I'm going to have to get the right size drill bit, and I'm going to put a locking collar on it if I have one the right size, so I don't go over deep, or at least put some tape on there so I don't go too deep, because I don't want to go too deep into this, because it's only 3/4 of an inch in diameter. No, this is a 1 inch. This is a 1 inch diameter. Yeah, so I can't go too deep. So I just want to drill pilot holes so that I don't split anything when I tighten it down. And once I do that, that's not going anywhere. But I will not tighten it down yet. Once I have the holes, I will then know where I can put my wrap. The wrap's going to only go between here and here. And obviously that will be like the last thing I do is you wrap it and then I put the handle on. So yeah, so we're getting where I want to be. I like the way this looks. This is going to be cool looking when I'm finished. And it's going to have a slightly different vibe than this one, and that's okay. I'm not going for exactly the same thing. They're kind of complementary, but they are not exact copies. Pilot holes have been drilled, and I didn't need a collar because the drill bit's so small. I just stuck out as much of the drill bit as I wanted and no more. So this just drilled all the way up to this, buried itself in there, and you're done. Now these are the screws I'm going to be using for this particular job, and they're kind of a faux faceted head, kind of like supposed to make them look like hammered nails. Funny story about this. I got this package at Home Depot, and it was perfect for what I needed that day. I lucked out. So I picked them up, I went up to pay for it. I bought a bunch of other stuff that day. And they couldn't find it. There was no SKU for this product anywhere. They're like, what can... So the guy just looked at me, handed me the box and said, go. So I got an entire package of these for free, and I've been using them for almost 9 years now. I still have a few left, and I love these things. And I don't have the packaging anymore, which is a pity because I don't know what brand they are. I've got them in a pill bottle in my toolbox. But so I'm hoping I can actually find something like this again someday when I finally use these up. Alrighty, so now that I have that done, I can take this off, disassemble this whole thing, and put all this stuff, put this aside, and then I can start working on the striking head. The holes have all been drilled, and these have all been ground down to the proper length because they were a little long. I did have to do this in multi-stages, so I used my Blair roto broach bits to do the top half, to do the hole in the top. Then I used a 3/8 inch bit to drill all the way through the wood. Then I used the same bit holding this over here to go through the other side. The reason I did that is that I have much more control of the speed with the hand drill. I can really feather the RPMs on that hand drill in a way I cannot with my drill press. So it's actually easier to go through the second half of the hole coming out the other side with the hand drill, and I just use the hole I've drilled already through it with the 3/8 inch bit in the drill press act as my guide so everything's nice and straight. So now it's going to be assembly, and then wrap, and then put the put my my D-guard on here. Now the one thing I did not do, because I didn't think of it, is I did not actually line up the D-guard with the striking heads. So we're going to see how that comes out. So it's not going to be perfect because I'm over there, I'm doing my thing, doop, boop, doop, doop, and all of a sudden realize, you didn't line those up. Well, sometimes that's just what happens. Alrighty, so assemble the strike heads, then do the wrap, put the D-guard on, and I'm done. And here we have the finished item. So the D-guard came out pretty good, and the strike head is not perfectly lined, but you know something? I'm not going to worry about that. Really, I'm not going to worry about that. This is really got a really nice weight to it. It's very tip heavy, but not obnoxious. I can control this. I feel like this is a solid, not a control, I say like a solid one-handed weapon. I'm having no difficulty whatsoever swinging this thing. And everything is just, just kind of came together. I had to redo the wrap once. I had made the wrap a little bit too long, so I had to redo it to make it a little bit shorter because it interfered with these two things in here. But now it's done, and I like it. think it came out nice. So now I'm going to go take some stills of this and then head upstairs because I'm getting hungry. It's time for dinner. We got sushi tonight. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this build. I definitely enjoyed making it, and I hope that you will be here for the next build.